Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope everyone's doing okay. So to start, I'm Alia. I'm from the SC University Technology Petronas, and today we'll be doing a talk based on tips for early stages of your tech career, and it will be presented by Mr. Daren Tan. So before we start, for those who are new here, or for those who don't know much about the SC, I'd like to explain a bit about what is the SC. So the SC are university-based community groups who are interested in learning about Google technologies, or who just want to know more about the latest technologies. And we welcome everyone from different backgrounds, different majors. You don't even have to be in IT to join us. And the SC basically give opportunity for students to improve their skills or to learn more about the tech industry, and also basically join us in our workshops, trainings, and tech talks such as this to basically improve their skills. And students also can meet up with people from all around the world, basically to solve problems related to this field. So now I would like to show a bit of a video about what is the SC.
Developer student clubs train thousands of student developers globally and work with their communities to solve real-life problems. Google selects amazing students from across the globe once a year to be a developer student club lead and start a club on their campus. These leads believe knowledge is power and that technology can do extraordinary things for the world. They take on the responsibility to help students learn and empower these students to solve real problems around them. Join us in building a global community for students.
So I hope through that video, it will inspire you and motivate you guys to join us. So we'll probably see some new faces here. So today, right now, I'll invite Mr. Daren to join us. So here, this is Mr. Daren Tan.
Hi guys.
So
Hold on a
before
minute.
we start, I
Okay.
would like to. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yep, ready.
Okay, so before we start, I want to explain a bit about Mr. Daren's background. So currently, he is working as a senior full stack developer at Magic. Daren's a full stack generalist and a data scientist. He's avidly passionate on combining data, design, and development to solve real life problems. Before his current role, right now, he worked as a freelance developer or consultant for multiple startups around Asia for 3 years. He's a serial hackathon winner with a cumulative total of 6 podium finishes and 4 top 10 finishes. He even entered international hackathons as far as Italy and London before. He's also the winner of the merit prizes at the 17th MSC Malaysia APICTA Awards 2016. He's actually the one who founded Hackathon Kaki and Developer Kaki. For those who don't know, these two are two really active tech communities in Malaysia with over 5,500 members. And you guys can actually follow them and join the group on Facebook. And he basically works in Magic basically as a full stack developer on tools and technologies to empower startups economies in Malaysia. He's a familiar face for those who probably have seen him as the judging panels for hackathon or entrepreneur events, and he was invited as speakers for various tech events and universities. So as you can see, he's very well versed in the tech industry, and he's basically an amazing, amazing guy in the tech industry.
Thank you.
Welcome. So today, this talk, based from his experience, he'll explain more about his background, his stories, his challenges, the lessons that he learned, basically, and also to give us some tips for those who just joined the tech industry or for those who aspire to join the tech industries. So yeah, so I talk a lot. So right now, I just pass on to Mr. Daren to give his talk.
All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Whoa, trippy. Okay. All right. Let me get my slides. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday night in the middle of the week. Can you guys hear me? You can comment in the comment section below. Okay, great. So let me get started. So for some of you here, you might or might not have seen this talk before. So I'll try to, for those of you who are new here, stay tuned. You learn some things that you cannot find anywhere else. And I've given this talk before. After being I got invited to give this talk in 2 other universities, which is last year in November, as well as earlier this year online with in collaboration with Xiamen University. Okay, so I've gotten credible good feedbacks on this talk. Hopefully it'll be good this time as well. I've added some things, some new things along the way from then until now into this talk. So let's get started. Okay. How do I? Okay, perfect. So welcome to this talk. So in this talk, I'm going to give you some tips, tips that I've learned, as well as hopefully it'll be useful for you in the early stages of my tech career. So in today's talk, I'll be sharing about my background, my story on what I've been doing since graduation, okay, and how joining hackathons can help my career. And as well as next, I'll also be sharing about tips for freelance development, and also various things about freelance development, like how to get started with it, what are the most useful platforms I found to use to get clients, what are the best and worst situations I've encountered as a freelance developer, and as well as how I could have done better to things I could have done to do better in those situations, so that you guys don't have to go through the same pain as me. As well as next, I'll be sharing also on different types of freelance project you can take, and also the importance of contract and sharing, and the project job scope sharing. And fourth, and the third thing here, the career pathway, income, and growth comparison. Okay, this is a pretty interesting one. It wasn't in the first talk, but it was in my second talk. So stay tuned for this one. And lastly, I'll be summarizing the whole talk at the end. Okay, so a bit about myself. I've experimented as well as learned and done projects in multiple areas of tech before, such as web development, mobile development, software development, data science, AI, machine learning, chatbots, blockchain, UI, UX, you name it. This basically I do everything lah. Anything the client needs me to learn, I will go out there and learn it, and so that I can do it and get paid for it. Okay, so other than that, hackathons. I started attending hackathons since 2016. In total I've went for 14 hackathons, both locally and abroad. The furthest I've went was Italy, and the furthest was London last year in November. I'll be sharing some pictures from that. Out of those hackathons, I've won 6 top 3 finishes, otherwise known as podium finishes, as well as 4 top 10 finishes. So that makes it around, I think, 70% win rate, I would say. Yeah. And before I started joining hackathons, I was selected by my university to join this competition in Malaysia, quite a big competition. Every year they have it, called MSC APICTA IT Awards. So I represented my university. I got a merit prize for that one. And after I won the merit prize, which is the top 3, okay, I was then chosen to represent Malaysia to fly to Taiwan to compete against, I think, 25 countries. Other than that, today I've retired from hackathon actually. Only I'll come out again. I'll go back into the hackathon game again if there's any special hackathon, either with insanely high cash prizes or an opportunity to travel. A hackathon that I really, really personally would love to have again, it's only held once before and stopped already, which is Hack Horizon, which is a hackathon in a plane. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a hackathon that starts in Hong Kong airport. That participants will be there hacking for one night, go on a plane, fly 20-something hours to London, and during the plane, they'll be offline and they'll be hacking in the plane. And once they land in London, they pitch, then that's the award ceremony there. It's a pretty insane hackathon. I've applied, I got to top 120, but I didn't get into the final. Those were chosen to fly, unfortunately, back then. So yeah. Next, I've also co-founded 2 Facebook groups, 2 Facebook communities. One is Hackathon Kaki, which is for hackathon-related discussions. These numbers are all outdated already. I think this was from my, January or November talk. Right now, Hackathon Kaki has about 2,600 members, while Developer Kaki already have 2,950 members, almost 3,000. Okay. Developer Kaki is a group where you, as a tech student, can benefit by getting to see how other students or seasoned veterans in the IT field, they share about their experiences, their knowledge, their skills on the technology. And then there's also a lot of curated job postings. I've tried my best to share jobs that are 10K and above within 5 years. Yes, you heard that right. It's 10K above within 5 years. This kind of job do exist. Before this, a lot of people, it's a bit taboo to talk about salaries. I try my best to, ask there, ask here, read there, read here, go to Glassdoor, and get to find some. So do join the Developer Kaki and Hackathon Kaki. You will learn a lot from that group if you're not already in this group. Okay. So, okay, a bit about myself. I graduated from Kampa. So Kampa is not sort of small university, not very well known. It's, I think, about 30 minutes away from UTP, Toronto. Yeah, it's in Kampa. So I've been to UTP before. It's a beautiful campus. So yeah, I actually graduated in UTA Kampa with my bachelor's back in 2016. Not many people know this because when they meet me, they assume I was from some other university because UTA Kampa, honestly speaking, is a bit, the community there is very Chinese centric. I've noticed like most of them are Chinese speaking, Chinese educated, Chinese cultured Chinese. Whereas me, I'm actually a banana. I can't read Chinese, but I can speak basic level Chinese. And also I'm a bit more to the Western culture and English speaking. So it was a bit of a culture shock at first, but I managed to improve my Chinese throughout the years I was there, and also get to learn and not learn from people from different backgrounds. There are bananas in that university, but it's a very small minority. Okay, so after that, I went on to pursue my master's in MMU Cyberjaya under scholarship. And during that time, I got the free time to explore, become a freelance developer and consultant, software consultant for over 3 years. Started small, slowly got some opportunities even up to the point where I got the opportunity to travel for overseas company, such as in Singapore and Shanghai. In total, I'll be sharing later how I achieved this, how I traveled 7 countries, 14 cities in the span of 365 days while doing my master's. And currently I'm working as a senior full stack developer in Magic Cyberjaya. For those of you that do not know, Magic Cyberjaya is actually a government agency under Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, which is in charge, which is given the mandate, which is responsible to grow the startup ecosystem in Malaysia. Okay, how will it help? We don't provide funding. First thing to clarify is we do not provide funding. Instead, we provide capacity building programs. So capacity building programs can be in the form of workshops, events, classes, boot camps, and a variety of other ways where we help to equip entrepreneurs and startups with the right knowledge in order to succeed in their journey. Okay. Personally, myself, I've also joined Magic's program before I joined Magic. I think it was back in 2016. I joined their data science bootcamp as a master's research student. So in master's research, there's no classes to attend. So all you do is self-research, reading papers, doing experiments, self-learn Python, and yeah. So going for that data science bootcamp by Magic, back then helped me a lot. It's a 3 months intensive bootcamp. I remember it was like 3 days, 3 nights. Starts at 7 p.m. Every night I go to, after research, I just drive 5 minutes away to Magic Cyberjaya from MNU, and then attended the class, learned a lot of practical Python and data science skills. Okay, so what I do in Magic actually, a lot of people ask this question. So in Magic, right, there's 3 parts actually. One is I do the technical day-to-day work, which is web, sometimes mobile, sometimes also a bit of data science and AI machine learning. Okay, to maintain the central system, as well as to sometimes experiment and create some new systems, some new projects, such as automated startup scoring system that uses AI machine learning to identify which startups are good and bad, as well as I've also done an AI AR, a mix of AI AR in a mobile app. Okay. Other than that, I've also, part of my job is to give, to judge, and also part of it is to give talks. So some of the talks are under Magic, but most of the talks are personal invitations lah. So I've judged and also given talks in 18 hackathons and entrepreneurial events. Sometimes also have to go attend meetings at the corporate and also ministry side. And I've also mentored 20 plus individual startup entrepreneurs under the Magic Mentorship Program. Okay. So let's go back to this. How did I travel 7 countries, 14 cities in 365 days? And where did I go? So let me share with you. And hopefully this can inspire you to take chances, just apply for stuff and, travel the world, see the world. Okay, so back in February 2018, started off with that in Singapore. So I applied for Rakuten's interview. So Rakuten was hiring for an NLP, PHP, Python engineer. Yeah, it's kind of weird. They want PHP, Python experience with machine learning, NLP background people. So I applied. There were 5 stages. I got to the 4th stage, which is the Rakuten the interview in Singapore. So what they do there is they provide me flight expenses, as well as they provide me flight and hotel expenses fully covered. Just fly there for a weekend, on a Friday, interview, and come back. During that time, there were the coding challenges as usual. Then there were the preliminary HR mock-up, HR call. Then I can't remember what's the third test. And the fourth one was to fly. I got an email to fly to Singapore. And the last, right, the very fascinating part is if you pass the fourth interview with two Japan Rakuten engineers, you will get an offer dinner. They will give you an offer letter to sign over a beautiful, great dinner at a posh place near their office. So it's quite fascinating to see that, you actually can get offer on the same day, on the same evening, and you get to have a dinner to sign your offer over. Okay, so that's Rakuten interview. Unfortunately, I didn't pass at the last stage. There were a lot of candidates, super competitive. They fly people from all over Asia, not just Malaysia. They fly people all over Asia to Singapore HQ to interview, and then you have an option to work either in Singapore or Tokyo. The pay for this was like 5,000 SGD and above, and it was a pretty exciting offer. Unfortunately, I didn't get through. If not, right now I'll be doing this talk from Tokyo right now. Okay. So next, I've also the following month, in that year I really fly a lot. So the following month, I actually fly to Italy. For this one, I attended a hackathon called Vatican Hack. They provided me half of my flight tickets, and the first 4 days they provided a hotel. So for those of you who don't know where is Vatican, let me show you. It's a very interesting little it's a very interesting little country. So you see, this whole island, this whole peninsula here is Italy, while the Rome, the capital of Italy, is here. And if you zoom a little bit more, you see Vatican City is actually in the middle of Rome, and it's not a state, it's not a city, it's a country. Vatican City is a country within a country. Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. So for those of you who don't know, want to know how it looks like, it looks something like this. Yes, the famous St. Peter's Basilica. On the Sunday when the Pope comes up to talk, this place is full as hell. So next, other than that, I've also gone to Japan with a trip with my friends, fully funded by myself. After that, I got invited to go. I got an offer actually to go to China to help develop MVP for a startup. It was a 3 months job. Managed to so basically, it sponsored my flight accommodation to fly to China to develop MVP. And how I got this right is pretty fascinating. Let me share with you. So what I did back then was that I did a little data analysis here. So back then, during my free time, I just thought, hey, I saw this post by the Johor Prince, and I wondered that when he asked, do not rock the boat, do not tukar perahu, do not change the boat, which means do not change the government. So I was wondering, since him and his father, the king, is so beloved by the rakyats, will the rakyat agree with him? Will the rakyat listen to what he said, or will they have the opposite reaction, or criticize him? So I did a simple data scraping using Facebook Graph API. Okay, and then after that I did a little analysis, made a write-up, and then some write-up here on how I did it, and then got some bit of engagement, got tons of inbox messages. So one of the inbox messages was to go to Shanghai to help out with a project. Okay, so it's a very simple analysis. You scrape, you analyze the sentiment, you get the heat map, and a simple word cloud. It was a for fun project, and funny enough, it got me a lot of opportunities in the inbox, as well as this one that brought me to China. Okay, so next, I've also been to Hong Kong to help out to pitch to investors in Hong Kong. And after that, following year, I go to Korea with my family, self-funded from the money I got from freelancing. And also lastly, Honor, the phone Honor brand, they liked my page, my Facebook page, where we promote gadgets, and we apply for some competitions that they had at their forum, and they sponsored me and my brother together we applied it together. We got a phone to review for 3 months, as well as in another contest, we won 2 contests. So the second contest, they sponsored us to fly to Paris for their brand new phone launching. It was a very memorable experience in Paris. It was a grand event. We've always watched those live launching from our computer screens, and we finally get to be in one ourselves. Okay, so here's my journey. 1 year of traveling 7 countries. Paris was memorable because it was the one day in the whole 365 days where it snowed. And yeah, it was very beautiful. The first time seeing natural snow that fell from the sky. And also something that I've only shared, I think, twice before, only in this talk, I've never shared much anywhere else, is that at the age of 25, just a short 3 years after graduation, I managed to stop paying rental and own my first property. Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty good, proud achievement, I would say. Through proper planning, freelancing, getting your knowledge on how to get the bank, how to make yourself credit worthy. Yeah, you can actually that's how I get to own the house. Okay, so let me rewind back. Okay, right now you guys are students. I was also a student once. So back then, when I was at your place, at this point of time, I was unsure of everything. I was about to graduate, about to go into my first job, and I was wondering what kind of career will I have, and of course, how the hell do you own a house, right? As a fresh grad. So in 2016, I graduated from computer science degree, just a short 4 years ago. Here's me and my girlfriend during convocation. Before graduation, I secured job offers from, I think, 5 job offers after attending 12 interviews. Okay, so during the career fair at my campus, I attended 12 interviews. I got 5 offers, including Intel in Penang. Ultimately, I chose one company in Mid Valley, signed the offer because they were offering me slightly higher than the other companies. And it was a company that deals with banks and fintech products, which is a personal area of interest of mine. And I even started looking for rooms to rent near Mid Valley. But suddenly, plot twist, I resigned from that job before I started. Yeah, as weird as it seems, it's quite possible. So actually, I signed that offer 3 months before the start date, and 2 weeks before the job, I've resigned from it before I started. So I'm not sure if it's considered resign or not. So there's a story behind this. The reason I resigned was because I got offered to pursue master studies under TM scholarship. So stories like this, I've applied it early on in January 2016, the same year. In January, they called me up. And then they interviewed me on the phone. They liked me, but they asked me if I can start immediately. I couldn't start immediately because I was still in my final year. So they wanted people to fill in immediately. So they rejected me at that point of time. And after that, I think it was a month or a month and a half before my start date at the Mid Valley company. They came back, call me. Is it Daren? Daren, the vacancy is still available. The scholarship vacancy. Are you still interested? Then I would say sure. Then I went out to Cyberjaya to interview for this scholarship, to train down there, and ultimately I got the scholarship. And then I thought very long and hard for 2 weeks, wondering whether or not to take on postgraduate studies or to go and go out and work in the workforce. So I've consulted my friends, my seniors, even my lecturers on their opinions. So ultimately, the summary I got from them and the one that resonated with me, after I really thought half of 2 weeks, I even couldn't sleep at night. So ultimately, what I got from them was that, you can work for the next 40, 50 years. So why not you just take another 2-3 years to finish or to do a postgraduate studies, extend your time as a student, get more free time to explore and learn and get this master's degree. Okay. So ultimately, I decided to take it because you're under scholarship and there's a living allowance. So that's it. I've resigned from my job. And how I resigned from the job before I started, I didn't know how to. So what I do, like everyone else, I Google resignation letter template, and then modify it to say that I'm resigning because I got ABC reason. And so happened it's within my notice period, so it's considered as a resignation. And the company has totally no problems with it. And the hiring manager even said good luck to me in the studies and contact him when I'm graduating again, when I'm going to graduate. Okay, so all was good. So next in masters, what I did there. So it was a scholarship position as a research scholar under TM Big Fields. It was 2,500 ringgit a month for living expenses. Tuition fees are fully waived. So what I did there was to research. There's no classes to attend, actually. You just need to go to the lab every day to research. Read up papers, learn up the different techniques, design the experiment and run the experiment, and then write papers to publish in conferences and journals. And my research title was about domain data-driven Rule-based data resident engine for big data. So that's a mouthful. To a layman, in the layman terms, it means to clean data, to create an engine that can clean data using machine learning techniques, machine learning and NLP techniques specifically. Okay, so from that, I've also managed to publish 2 papers. One is published, one is submitted, not published yet. One is called News Reliability Evaluation, basically fake news detection using latent semantic analysis, as well as near document duplication using performance comparison using SIMHASH and MinHash. Okay. So during my master's in 2016 also, I was called up and told me, hey, your degree FYP was selected as a finalist for APICTA Malaysia's 2016 award. So you need to go PICOM to pitch. So from Cyberjaya, I drove to Empire Damansara to pitch to PICOM, a panel of people in PICOM. For those that don't know, it's the Persatuan ICT Computer Malaysia, I think. Yeah. So I pitched, I've won, got invited to this luxurious and grand dinner that it was held at the Majestic Hotel. It was so memorable. I've won the merit prize for Best Tertiary Student Award. Okay, that's me. And that's me receiving the award from the then MDEX CEO, Datuk Yasmin Mahmud, who is the current CEO of Post Malaysia. And also this victory also appeared in Star newspaper. I think my first newspaper appearance. And after that, I've represented Malaysia to go to Taiwan, Taipei, Taiwan, to compete on the international stage. I think there were about 15 to 20 plus countries. Yeah, all the Asia Pacific countries for this award. It was my first time flying internationally out of Malaysia that far. Singapore doesn't count. First time flying internationally out of Malaysia, and this was fully paid by the PICOM. Okay, it was a very memorable experience, super memorable. And unfortunately, I didn't win because it was a tough fight against other countries. Yeah, so it's pretty fun. So next, other than that, I've also started joining hackathons. So I joined hackathons in June 2016. It was just like you. I was just curious, what's a hackathon? Sounds pretty fun. I'm not sure if I'm even qualified to enter. Do I have the knowledge necessary to join hackathons or not? I get this message a lot. I want to join hackathon. I'm not sure if I'm, what do I need to learn to prepare for hackathon? Other people message me to ask me about this. So I've started joining hackathons, and happy to share that I won the first ever hackathon I joined, which is Angel Hack. And from there on, I just keep. In the same year, I've won the next one. I joined Google Startup Weekend, EduTech. I've joined Maybank Hackathon, won first runner up. MDEC Big App Challenge, third runner up, which is 4th place. And also I've gone on to try out to join hackathons and hackathons after that, and somehow I continue to win lah. Not sure. Hackathon to me, let's see. Hackathon to me is a place, a 24-hour or 36-hour event where you can, as a tech student, you get to be creative, to apply the skills and knowledge that you learn to real-world problems set by the organizers. Okay, you come up with an idea, you try to make the best MVP, the best demo you can have, pitch on stage, get huge amount of money, win-win. So yeah, I've won quite a lot of money from hackathons actually. But and some more friend who won even more, which is my friend Yok Tian, who's also on this stream I see. He's joined a total of 56 hackathons, and I think he's won more than half of it. Yeah, the fella, he makes a living off hackathons. There's such a people. Okay. So in each hackathon, I get to learn different things, explore different teams. And one of the most interesting one was Hack Train in London. Yeah, I flew all the way to London to join this hackathon, which was literally held on multiple trains, traveling to multiple locations. It's not as fun as it sounds like, bit cramped, and it's quite tiring. We had to switch trains. We traveled from the middle of in London to the south, the seaside, then to the east. We stopped there for one more night. Then we go to a north, small city in the north, where there's a National Computing Museum, and then we fly back. We take a train back to London. So it was a hackathon that was held mostly on the train. Okay, so I'll be sharing some of the projects, what I've worked on, what I've learned from hackathons. So the first project the first hackathon I ever joined. So these are my seniors in university. I just graduated, so like how do I say this? Like I was just tagging along, as a new guy in the hackathon. I just want to see what it's about and try out something new, something fun. So the project that we came up with initially wasn't this idea. It was another idea. I just follow my seniors. They got the idea. I just follow on to implement. But then I don't really agree with the idea. Ultimately, after pitching it to a mentor, the mentor shot down their idea, and then we hit a dead end. And then I just proposed my idea again, pitched to the mentor, and the mentor said, "Hey, your idea is pretty good. I think you guys should go with this instead." And went with my idea, and which is this property app, and ultimately we won third prize in this big data category, as well as the top 12 in the main category. Okay, so what this idea was about is to actually help to match properties to users. It aims to solve problems of unrented properties, as well as to reduce the hassle and cost of cutting middlemen when renting out places to stay. It was mentioned in Welcome Post as a Tinder-esque social platform geared towards those looking for potential roommate to share rent with. So this project alone won a total of 3 recognitions, I would say. Third place winner for Big Data category in Angel Hack. Fourth place for the National Big App Challenge. And top 20 in the Next Academy's The Next Challenge. So my role in this was ideator, UX designer, coder, and the presenter. It was my first time pitching on stage, and this was by far at the time the largest hackathon in Malaysia. There were over 390 participants in Berjaya Times Square's lobby. Okay, so there were people passing around, up there looking down at us, and yeah, it was the first time pitching on such a huge stage with such a big audience, and yeah, I was very nervous. I think you can still find a video of it somewhere online, and I was winning this gave me quite a good give me some self-esteem boost and makes me want to try out hackathons more, as well as being more comfortable to present on stage. Okay, so this was the mock-up that I've done, that we've done together as well. Then my teammates helped to beautify them into a mock-up, and then we also coded out the in case we couldn't code out, we used this mock-up, but we did try to code this thing out. Okay. So next, the next thing I'll highlight was this Maybank Hackathon. It was a completely different team, completely different hackathon. It was a data hackathon. So this one, Maybank gave us 11 million rows of data to play with. It was customer transaction data, as well as their credit history. Okay, so they want us to help them think of ways based on the data-backed insights on how banks can grow the deposit base, meaning people put money in bank, how to get people to put money in banks lah. So after analyzing the data, you're doing some prediction analysis using techniques. I have an amazing team of teammates here. We don't know each other actually, except for her. She's my research teammate, currently working in Secris and also was working in Petronas. So these teammates we met, basically we only have 2 of us at first, and then we were the only applicants without a team. So we were then grouped together basically. Then miraculously we won second place, and we only lost to one team, which was consisting of 3 essential consultants. Okay, so they were really, really good. They are like not fresh grads. They've worked in Accenture for close to 8 to 10 years already. So what we did here was to, based on the data that we analyzed, we suggested to run targeted campaigns. We showed them graphs, showed them the analysis we've done, the predictions that we've done to introduce these steps that they can take to get people to deposit money into the banks. Okay, so for this one, the first runner-up in this, I'm the ideator and presenter because they are stronger and better, more experienced data science people here. Okay. So other than that, Dream Team Challenge was a Magic and MMU and also TM co-organized hackathon. For this one, I did a depression detection. As you know, depression is a very real thing. A lot of people suicide because of depression because it goes undetected. Nobody knows they're having depression. So I think, how can technology help to solve this problem? And then I thought, came up with this idea where you can use text sentiment analysis, vocal, facial, heart rate detection, even heart rate detection. So even surprisingly, phones with flash can also detect heartbeat. There's an app for that. So you can use all these different parameters, all these different data to find out if a person has a depression symptoms or not. Okay. So for this one, we won the TM Special Award. And yeah. Next one, we go to Tech Hack. Tech Hack was held at DG headquarters in 2017. It's a telecom themed hackathon. For this one, it's it's free topic, but must use their APIs and within the telco range lah. So for this, I decided to do something about the all the comments on their DG's Facebook page. Okay, so each time they post, like let's say that time it was iPhone 7, a lot of people will be messaging them. They get maybe a few hundred to 1,000 comments, but most of the time these comments are either gone unacknowledged or unused. People just post there without a reply, right? So there's a potential there to use the data, as well as telemarketing costs where people call you, want to change plan or not, and all those, offer you free gifts. Telemarketing that is hugely ineffective and incurs a huge cost to companies. Okay, so the solution that we provided was to scrape and analyze data from social media and to identify customers and with purchase intent. Means from those comments, right, which of them are interested to ask about the plan. People who ask about the plan mostly have a want to want to buy the product, right? So I've even found research paper to back this up. There's actually research done in 2016 that says that there's possible machine learning techniques to detect customers purchase intents. And then we also created a chatbot to promote special offers to these customers to facilitate the phone or plan upgrade process. Okay, these are my friends from university. It was their first time joining hackathon, and they've won first place. So it's pretty good. We've won first place together. So yeah, this hackathon was reported in the Star newspaper again, my second newspaper appearance. For this hackathon, I'll very share quickly. This one is blockchain. So in each hackathon, you see I get to explore a different technology, a different stack to learn different things, try to solve a different problem. So hackathons to me is pretty fun, where you get to really try out and learn about different industries. There's even Asia hackathon, where you learn about aviation. There's banking. There's property. Recently, IOI hackathon, learn about property, prop tech. So all this, you don't just don't just learn to build based on specs. You get to idea and think how you can apply the things you know to solve problems in the real world. Okay. So this one was it was my first time developing something on blockchain. So I built a complaint feedback system, a web app based on the Ethereum blockchain, so that the complaints is transparent, is immutable. Everyone can see it. Both the students and the admin can see it, and the admins of the university have to take action on the complaint, on the feedback. Only they can mark it as done. And all this everyone can see, so there's no escaping for it. There's more transparency between both parties. Okay, I combined the idea of a feedback system, complaint feedback system, together with those university confession pages, MMU confessions, UM confessions, Taylor's confessions. So people post anonymous complaints there, right? And then they mostly go for chit chat, but sometimes there's also some complaints on universities there. So you combine that idea together with a complaints feedback system, with a smart dashboard that analyzes the sentiment as well as the context of those complaints. You get to imagine you get 100 to 200, 500, or thousands of comments. You get to see which comments are urgent, which feedbacks or complaints are more urgent, so they can take action on them first. Okay, so ultimately we got top 8 for this. And the last hackathon for this, the last one I will share tonight is about the OCBC MMU Digiton. It's also another bank hackathon. So for this one, I joined alone. I joined solo. It was a month-long hackathon, but I had other commitment at the time. Was doing research as well as some other freelance project. So I built this in although I had a month to build it, I only built it in the last 31 hours. The last 31 hours, 1.5 days before I started create project and build it. And yeah, I managed to get first place. I won 6,000 ringgit all to myself. This was the biggest win, the biggest net income, I would say, from a hackathon. So for this one, what I did was I combined scraping of social media posts, scrape customers' Instagram pictures this time, not just text data, Instagram pictures or Facebook pictures. I then, based on those photos, I analyze it to find out what objects are in there, and these objects, what category or industries are there. So let's say this person posts a lot of cakes, a lot of chicken chops, a lot of food. It'll be identified as objects, and then it'll be under F&B, or maybe sometimes a person likes outdoors a lot, takes pictures of sceneries a lot. It'll be like trees, mountains, clouds, and stuff. But then you put it into Google and then NLP analysis. There's one API for that to get the industry where this object belongs to. So based on that, I generate customer interest profile. From that, I also generate a customer's net worth profile based on their interests. So certain people have expensive hobbies, which means they're more rich, and some people have maybe less expensive hobby, which means they're not so rich. So this will make it easier for the bank to target people with different segments of gifts, personalized based on their interests, and then basically to target the high value customers with high value gifts so that they can deposit more money to you, basically. And also lastly, based on the campaign that's recommended, the chatbot automatically approach the customer to facilitate the opening of bank accounts. So this was done with ChatView. You can open your bank accounts, hopefully one day using the chatbot in Facebook Messenger, but I demoed the concept end to end. You can scan your IC by your photo, to do eKYC by scanning your face, and basically you don't need to queue at the bank for this. Okay. So as a summary, right, hackathons are a great place to build your profile, to improve your skills, to learn new things, and to network, and also apply your tech knowledge to solve real-world problems. It improves and lets you train your creative problem-solving skills, and you're forced to learn and to learn fast. Okay, and lastly, it helps you to get noticed lah. So from this, I actually got job interview opportunities, job opportunities, freelance opportunities from joining hackathons. And in networking, sometimes you not only network with other participants, you also network with judges, the mentors, and so on. You get to know, you will know whether the person will be your next co-founder, your next colleague in company, or someone with a high net worth and will want to invest in your idea. So it's I know as a tech people, we are quite introvert, but during hackathons or even other events, other meetups, go out there to network. I believe networking is really the number one thing, the most important thing, more than your skills, more than anything else. Okay. So now let's move on to part 2 of the talk, which is how I got started with freelance development. Okay, so before I start on that, let me just, since most of you here are students, I will just track you with some of the freelance setup that I have over the years. As you can see, by doing freelancing, get to expand my setup. And lastly, this is this year's setup already. This is a final form already. I can't go any further than this. Yeah. So why do I choose to do freelance development? So always start with the why. So it comes to think of it, if I don't do freelance, I'll just be purely doing research for 2 to 3 years. Okay. At the end of this research, right, I only be good in Python and probably just be a researcher with no practical web or mobile building skills. So with freelancing, I actually gain heck lot of experience, heck lot of skills. Okay, so in freelancing, right, you're not just in charge of doing the code. You're in charge of everything, man. You're in charge of doing the promotion, marketing, funnels and leads, sales, meeting clients, requirement gathering, preparing quotations. See, preparing quotations and invoices is finance. The top one is marketing. Then here is like BA or PM, PO, product owner, product manager. Then you start coding. First line of code, the front end, the back end, the last line of code. Then you debug, deploy, configure, upload to App Store, testing, maintenance. All of this will be fall under your shoulders as a freelancer. Okay, so from this I learned a lot. So compared to one of these guys I worked with during my freelance, this other company hired this front-end developer. Okay, he listed his resume. He knows PHP, he knows React. He worked, I think, got 2 years company working experience. Hired him lah. So he listed he knows PHP Laravel, which is the stack I was using at the time. And then turns out, right, bloody hell, I tell you, the fella, he listed his PHP. He's no doubt a good front-end HTML, CSS guy, but when it comes to PHP Laravel, holy shit, he don't even know what's a blade. And I have to walk him through how to use Git step by step, and he still got it wrong. And yeah, basically, working experience, years of working experience doesn't reflect anything. Especially if you work in a company, especially a huge company, you'll be probably assigned a small subtask. So probably for him, he probably did a PHP Laravel project, but maybe he only handled HTML codes only and nothing on the back end. He couldn't even do a simple web, the PHP Laravel, the routing to display a page. He couldn't even do that. So basically, when it comes to the blade templating, the routing, or back end, no hope lah. Okay. So yeah, being a freelancer, you learn a lot of things. So here are the technical skills. Just like you, probably at your point of time, back then, when I was at your point of time, I only have this much of skills when I came out from degree. The basic C during foundation, C++ during year 1, Java, Android, Windows, C#, XAML. I learned it on my own for my FYP project, which was to build for a Microsoft product and Microsoft platform. Then, if I only done masters, this is probably what I have after 2 to 3 years, which is Python and data science 2 sets. And this is my 2 set after coming out of doing freelance while doing my masters. So you really get to explore all sorts of things. During my time as master, I get the free time to explore new technologies, new things on my own, as well as to learn as the freelance project comes along. Okay. So also I've also learned, this is not related to freelance, but I also learned to use non-technical skills that I learned to use Photoshop, Lightroom, CorelDRAW. These are super important when you want to create posters, create mock-up, create media on the go. So sometimes you don't need to wait for designer to get back to you. You can do it yourself. Okay. So next, what are the best channels to get freelance clients? So I get asked this a lot. These numbers are outdated because I think I plugged this in last November. It's been like Developer Kaki is already almost 3,000 members now. So let me just share with you what is Beamstart. Beamstart. So Beamstart is a community, it's a platform where you can get connected to different entrepreneurs. I would say in the startup ecosystem, you can filter for designers, CFO, CEO, CTO, full stack, back end, front end, as well as filter by country, get the latest news on the business and startup. Okay. It's a pretty good platform. I've gotten about 41 messages from this platform. Most of them are equity, which I'll explain in the next slide. But there are also I got some pretty good clients there where we work for long term, for a long term, and they paid money, of course, not equity. Okay. So that's Beam. You can try that out. Next is personal website. Let me share with you my personal website. So personal website is a must-have before you graduate. Okay, so this is a personal website. I haven't updated this for, I think, 2 years already. So as a student, before you graduate, it's very good to have a personal website. Okay, you can, as a student level, you probably can showcase your final year projects as well as some for fun mini projects if you've done on your free time. Okay, employers love to see students with projects and can explain how they do the project in detail. So some students, they just ask their friends to help or copy some code without understanding. So if you can showcase your projects as well as how is it done, I would love to have individual page for each project to explain how I've done it. So yeah, let me walk through how to have a freelance development portfolio website. So first, of course, a landing page, landing section. Next is the services that you offer. List them out. It'd be good to have all this. This is extra. Awards won, projects done, client serve. Okay. Then you have a portfolio where you can filter. I haven't updated this for a really long time. Seriously, no time, man. Then, okay, this is the best. I think the most important part of this website is the client's testimonial. So those people that worked with me before, that hired me before, they give me reviews that I can share here. And this will give trust to the next client to hire me. Okay. So you just slowly build up. So after each freelance project, try to ask for a review, just like a Grab driver, just like a Shopee seller. You need reviews, ratings to boost your profile. Okay. And lastly, a contact form. And one extra thing you can add, right? Of course, the links to your media profiles that you want to share. One good thing I want to share, extra thing, which is a chatbox. This is a Drift service. I will be changing this to a messenger soon, but back then I had this app installed in my phone. So whenever someone messages me here, I will get the message on my phone instantly. So Drift, unfortunately, I don't use it that actively now. I will be changing this button to a Facebook Messenger where I'll probably be able to reply faster. Okay, have this because people after seeing your stuff will be interested to engage with you or ask you some questions. They will type here and you can respond to them more immediately lah. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, next, equity. Oh, I mentioned that I get a lot of equity requests. So what does equity mean? Equity is basically shares in a company. So a lot of startups, a lot of startup founder, they have the idea, but they might not have the funding or the necessary financial means to hire someone to build the platform. And I've noticed even among my friends that most of them would approach students or fresh grads with equity. And because as fresh grads and technical students, you don't know what's the equity or not so sure what it is, some of them do accept it and work for either little to no salary for equity. Okay, so equity basically is shares in the company. In the most basic understanding of this is that if the company gets sold or gets valued at a certain price in the future after it gets invested a certain round, you can sell your stakes and get the monetary value of that share at that point of time. Okay, that's the basic term meaning for equity. Okay, but for myself, I have from the last time I gave this talk, I got to read more about equity, some different perspectives. So let me just briefly run through with you. So as a student, you should be very aware of what's equity before you make any decisions. Okay, so ignore the title. The title is a bit clickbait. Okay. So as an engineer, software engineer, probably after you work a few years, you get a pretty comfortable salary. These are for overseas listings. So I want to focus on equity. So you would imagine that startup with two founders, you have 50% share, and but the reality is that as you raise funds, you have to give out equities to investors, and which means that your percentage of the share will be reduced, although you have the same quantity. Sometimes the CEO or the co-founders would issue more shares to be given to the investors, and this would dilute your share percentage in that holding of the startup. Okay, and yeah, that's what happens here. You can see you have the same amount as you started out with. But the percentage of ownership reduced because new shares are being issued out to investors or new employees. And okay, after that, let's say your company gets acquired for $1 billion. How much will you get? So it's actually not that simple. It's not that straightforward. Oh, I sell off my stock, I will get that money. No. So let's say you get acquired. Let's say in the scenario we get acquired, right? The monetary payout goes like this. You need to pay off your company's debts first. Then you pay off to the investors or the shareholders of preferred stock. This one goes first. And after the money, let's say it's $1 billion, whatever left of that $1 billion after paying off this only goes to the common stock. Okay. So yeah, it's not that straightforward. And if you're not comfortable with it, or if you're not very sure of the terms of equity, do read up on it before you make the decision to commit to work for equity. Okay. For me, I put this academia here because for my personal principles, I don't work for equity because equity cannot buy me gardenia bread when I want to eat. Okay, can't pay for my bills. So yeah. So next, what do you need to become a full stack developer? You need to know front end, back end, database admin, system admin, and also virtual control systems such as Git. Okay. So next is what are the top 3 best and worst situations? Okay, this one I only shared twice before, only in this talk. Okay, of the worst situations and the best I face in freelancing. So let me start off with the worst first, bad news first. Okay. So for the worst situation I faced, the first one was you won't believe this, but I actually had to chase payment for a project for 25 months. So what happened was this project was delivered by Milestone, if I'm not mistaken. They paid me 70%, and then they themselves have some unfinished stuff request from the client, so they hold off the 30% more. Okay. Then subsequently, I had to chase payment every 1 month, every 2 months, every 3 months, and subsequently total up to 25 months later. Luckily enough, I managed to get back the money that was owed to me. Although it's a very, very small amount, but back then as a student, it was quite a lot. So the second one was lost deposit and client abandoned project after 24 hours. So, sorry, let me go back to here first. So what could be better here? Because it was my, I think, the first 3 freelance project. So what would be better here is to have a contract to state that, first of all, always do not start a project without deposit. Have deposit 30% before you start the project. They pay you first only you start. So in case they don't pay the rest, you still get this amount. And then define 2 things. One is milestone deliverable, which means that at what percentage of completion, how much you get. Secondly is what penalties. So not usually in contract, right? The contract drafted by the client party might be benefiting to them. So we as freelance developer do not know this, but actually you can also negotiate or rather write the contract so that it not only protects the client, also protects you. And how? You protect yourself by defining penalties in the contract where you both will sign. The penalty would be like for each day of late payment, 10% penalty is charged on the project amount, remaining amount. So this will deter clients from paying you late. So if you really want to, and if the project amount is really big, it's really painful for the client to be taxed 10% per day of not paying you. Okay, and ultimately this contract can be used in court if needed. Okay, so the second case, let's go to the second case. What happened here was that acquaintance of mine, a friend old uni friend, don't really know her, but she messaged me and said, "Hey Daren, my company is looking for help to build a project, and we need it really urgently. Could you help me out? Then I was like, sure, let's have a look. Then the project manager that was in contact with me was like super urgent, everything. Basically gathered requirements from her, from the project manager, and then drafted out the system architecture. Everything was ready to code. And then I told them I will not start without deposit. Then they said, oh, cannot I only can give you the deposit after my boss approve. Here's the invoice with my company chart and my signature. My boss will sign after he's back from overseas. And that was the biggest mistake of my fucking life, I tell you. Okay, maybe not the biggest mistake of my life, but of my freelancing career. Because as urgent as she made it to be, the next day, after I basically created the entire system already, it was a mini game for an event it was an events company. So it was a mini game for an event using PHP to scan QR codes around a physical place. And then you have a point. You can somehow get to collect points by completing certain tasks and by scanning QR codes. Briefly, it was like that. So I managed to code out 70% of the project was ready to deliver on the second day already. They told me, oh, this project, our client canceled on us, so I'm canceling on you too. Then I was like, oh shit. They didn't pay me deposit, and all I have is an invoice with only one chop. Then I was very pissed. I tried to keep calm, and keep pressuring them to pay me out. And what happened was ultimately we chased for 20 weeks. 20 weeks. Chased for I think 2 to 3 weeks. They told me, oh, never mind. Although we can't pay for this one, I'll give you more projects. I was like, I've already done the work for this one. How are you going to pay me with the next project? I said, I'm not going to start the next project before you pay me this one. And ultimately, our other new projects coming in, I was thinking it was not worth the hassle to continue to be stuck to invest time and energy into this project. So I just moved on from there. So what I learned here is really contract. Once again, is contract. Ensure you do not start a project without deposit payment. Do not, no matter how much puppy eyes, no matter how urgent, how whatever the client make it urgent to be, don't. You either, in this world, you either be cruel to others or you be cruel to yourself. So in this situation, I've been cruel to myself. Okay. And lastly was the worst situation I faced was people running out with my mock-up to other companies. Okay, so the story is like this. I was approached by a friend's friend to design a website for this company. So the company that he's working with is huge. It's a listed on Bursa stocks market company. It's huge. It's a limestone company, if I'm not mistaken. So I traveled to the office, have a proper formal meeting, requirement gathering, even presented to them my mock-up. They liked it a lot. They said, oh, it's beautiful, fantastic. And then up to the negotiation part, the price, I give them the invoice, they were like, oh, we got this other company that can do it for 30% of your price. Then I was like, okay, perhaps you should go for that company then, since you can do it for 30% of the price I'm charging. Then I was then just move on from this project. But however, there was a thing I noticed before during the negotiation stage. They asked the friend asked me, the friend of the friend asked me to send my mock-ups to him so they can show to his boss to help me negotiate for the offer or whatnot. After the meeting, because they want to present to other higher ups. And subsequently, I saw the website was implemented and it looks a lot like my design. Okay, so yeah, it was a pretty tough time back then. How I think this could be better is that you do not share the mockup or don't share the high-res mockup to other companies. Okay, there's a tendency for them to run off with your work, even if you don't share anything that you think could have a monetary value to the company, so that they don't run off with it to the other companies. So you need to be aware of this lah. However, with all the bad things that happen, there's also been some good things to happen. I was sponsored to go overseas, as I mentioned earlier, for some of the projects. Lastly, I also the last two things was to manage to charge 100 ringgit for one line of code, which I've done in less than 1 minute, which was pretty easy to earn. And lastly, I made 5,000 ringgit in 3 days for a project. Yeah. So there's some pros and cons to being a freelancer. Okay. So lastly, how to charge in a freelance project. Okay. So let's see. For freelance projects, there's basically two types. One is project-based, one is salary-based. Project-based is basically one-off. It's a huge lump sum. Negotiate by milestone, as I mentioned, deposit and milestone payments. That's called project-based. Secondly is salary-based, where they hire you for a certain period of time as a contract worker. This will be salary and recurring lah. So how do you? A lot of people always ask me, hey, how do I determine pricing for my freelance services? Okay, so ultimately I can summarize with you. There's two different ways. One is time-based, which is to charge hourly. Okay, for example, you can take as your fresh grad salary, or as software engineer salary, 3,000 or 4,000. What's the cost per hour? If you divided that by, let's say, 8 working hours per day with 5 working days a week, and 22 working days a month, you will get to divide those hours. You will get about $25, 25 ringgit per hour only. But as a freelance developer, you're not working for a company. Number two, you don't have EPF, SOCSO, medical insurance, EPF, all those things, all those benefits of a company. So for that, you have to compensate with a higher amount. So you don't charge 25 ringgit per hour. You charge, if you're just starting out, maybe 100 ringgit for Malaysian rate, 100 ringgit per hour, up to 200 or even more per hour you can charge. As the more projects you take, the more experience you get, right? So you can start with time-based, or another way to think of it is you can also do value-based, whereby, let me show you an example. Value-based is you think, what's the value that the system you build, what kind of cost savings or profit it can help the company to make. Okay, so for example, let's say the platform you have to build is e-commerce bread selling platform. Okay, same features. Let's say the core is the same. It will be an e-commerce website where people get to see bread listing and purchase bread, payment gateway, all those things. So a housewife finds you to make this website. Maybe you want to charge 3,000 ringgit only because they don't think they can afford that much. And if Gardenia, such a huge company for so many years, right? I don't think you want to charge 3,000 ringgit for it, right? So you probably want to look into the company's background and think what kind of value your website can help them to achieve. So you charge a certain percentage of that savings or that certain percentage of that profit. So for example, let's say they get to bring in 300,000 or maybe 1 billion ringgit sales through the website that you build. So charging a measly 30, 50 or 100,000 isn't really that crazy. Okay? Because they invest like 5 to 10% and they get the 90 to 95% gain from your system and for the years to come. Okay? Yeah, basically that's it for this part. And lastly, the importance of contract and job scope, project scope in freelancing. So this is one part where most of us in the beginning tend to ignore. Okay, to project the interest of both freelancers and clients, you really need a contract. As a beginner, you might not need a lawyer You can just draft a contract, download templates from online, get it stamped at the Lembaga Hasil, the stamp duty, get it stamped for become official. What you want here usually is to have the scope of the project, as in the deliverables. What are the deadlines you deliver? What's the deadline for payment? What's the penalty for both sides if either one of us fail to deliver by the deadline? As well as, I think that's about it. There's a few more other things I can't recall at the moment, unfortunately. For beginner freelancers, you probably will self-draft the project, but if the project amount gets bigger and bigger, 50,000, 100,000 to 1 million, you better invest in getting a lawyer to help you draft out this contract so that you don't get, so that the project doesn't get voided or there's some loopholes in there the client can take to con you or to escape payment. Okay, invest in a contract or Google about contract templates. Okay, I have listed here. I've totally forgot about this. So scope of deliverables, being as specific as possible here will save your ass in the future. Next, project fees, milestones, deadlines. Yeah, I mentioned it just now. Next, okay, let's go back to career pathway, income, and growth comparison. So I managed to gather data from my peers after they graduated from university. They've been working in companies, and I've gathered this data on how much increment this is real data, okay? I've interviewed my friends, my close friends, on how much of the percentage increment for staying in the company as well as for jumping companies, okay? So for graph 1, Mr. A, he was staying in the same company for 3 years. So for the first year, he got 10% increment, 15% increment for staying in the same company. Okay, I think this is pretty good because some companies only pay 5 to 10%. And another friend also did the same, 10 to 20% increment for the same company for 3 years. I have some friends that doesn't want to change company. Then there's this friend who's changed and who worked for the first company for 2 years and then jumped on the third year to a new company. So you got 10%, 10%, and 20% increment. Okay, so next is the fourth person. For him, he jumped to first company in Malaysia, second company in Malaysia, and then boom, third company in Singapore. Okay, so as you see, a jump basically ensures you a 20% increment of salary. Then when he go to Singapore, is the whole currency thing. That's why there's this much of an increment lah. Okay, this friend jump company every year, basically. Okay, so my trends and observation of this is like this. Okay, I find that the entire job system is very broken. Okay, it basically discourages loyalty by giving you 10, 15% if you stay, but it encourages disloyalty whereby you get more than the minimum increment you get is 20% or the minimum increment you have to get is 20%. I've even heard of friends who got 40, 50, 60, even up to 100% increments when they jump. So it's really insane. So I find the job system is a bit broken in this regard, where companies don't keep up with the market rate or counter offer to retain their employees. Okay. So, okay, I'll be sharing you something I've done for a talk of a different topic. This is pretty interesting. Stay with me here. I've done a short analysis of gross salary, net salary comparison. Okay, this is good to know as a fresh grad. I've got this data from my friends in US, my friends in Singapore, as well as the Malaysia data. Okay, so for this one, present. Okay, so let's say in all these countries, you start off as a fresh grad with zero working experience, eats at home 6 days a week, and rents a single room. I managed to get the data of the living expenses in each country, as well as the tax rate in each country. And from there, right, I managed to calculate out what are the net salary percentage after deducting taxes, after deducting rental and living costs in each of those countries, as well as the type of job you take. So for example, in Malaysia, ringgit, and in Malaysia, working a local job versus a remote job in US, let's say, these are the kind of salaries you can get. Okay, after deducting everything, you get a take-home pay. So it's quite fascinating to see that this net salary in the US, let's say your take-home pay is only 52% of what you earn after deducting living costs and everything. In Singapore, it's 70%. In Malaysia, working locally, you actually take home 80% of what you earn. Although, yeah, it's a smaller amount. While in a remote job where the tax is higher, significantly higher, you get the take-home pay of 72%. Okay, so with all this data, right? Yeah, these are the tax calculation. So with all this data, I even done just for fun analysis, just pop in my head, like how long with this each of this path, right? How long would you take for you to become a millionaire? I mean, who doesn't want to become a millionaire, right? So from that, right, I did an analysis here on annual salary, and you accumulate it. Okay, this is not salary. This is the take home after deducting the net salary. Okay, the net salary. So in the US, let's say you start working at the age of 23 after you graduate. If you work a US job, how to be a millionaire in Malaysia, sorry. So this is in terms of being a Malaysia ringgit millionaire. So by the age of 30, if you work in the US in a typical job, you get to become a millionaire at the age of 30 if you convert the money back to Malaysia. Okay. Next, if you work a remote job in Malaysia for other US, European, Australian companies, you can become a millionaire at the age of 37. Okay. Next, let's see here. Yeah, correct. $1 million here. For US, $1 million here. Okay, ringgit. Okay, so next, if you work as because a lot of people in Malaysia, they like to, after I graduate and go work in Singapore and earn the currency difference. So yeah, if you work in Singapore with the standard increment of 10% every year, you will get, let me see, cumulative. Right. So you become a millionaire at the age of 47. So it'll take you 23 years to become a millionaire if you work in Singapore. After you convert the money back to Malaysia, that is. Okay. Yeah, this is MYR amount. Okay. So next, if you were to work only in Malaysia from start to end of your career life, let's say your career life is until 60 years old, you only can become a millionaire at the age of 56. Okay. So yeah, that's the reality. So the lesson I'm going to show here is that for whatever choice or career choice you make in life, whether relocation or changing companies, always have a plan ahead, do some projections, have a plan which year you must change job in order to reach your financial goals. Okay. For the first I think one tip I can give is for the first 10 years, the early years of your career, don't stay too long at one company. Yeah, although it does, some people might hate me for saying this, as I've shown, being loyal to a company doesn't really pay off unless a company is really, really good. try to have plan ahead at which age, how much you want to be earning, return the goals from there. As what I'm trying to say here is that let's say you want to earn 10K per month. Okay, what companies offer this? By what age I want to earn this amount. Then I had to plan at what age I need to change to get 6K, to get 8K, to get 10K. Plan ahead several years ahead in order to achieve this amount of salary. Okay, so first of all is plan when to change job. 2, always be aware there are certain companies that pay higher than the others. So be aware of these companies. I've shared this in Developer Kaki. Lastly is one more thing I want to share is that a lot of people message me. A lot of fresh grad has this mindset whereby, I need to learn every technology, every language out there to apply for, to be a good candidate to apply, which I think is not a very effective way to actually apply for companies, because each company only uses a certain stack of technology. So what I advise those people that message me for career advice is that reverse engineer, as everything in life, always reverse engineer. Let's say you have to enter this company A. They only use Node.js, React, Koala JS, Express, not certain stacks. Okay, you don't have to know it. How to say? So you identify that this company pays this amount and they need you to know these technologies. So you can ignore the rest of the technologies that exist out there. Just focus on these stacks. Focus yourself for 3 to 6 months, intensely learning everything you can from self-learn online. Build several projects on each that utilizes each of those technologies to demonstrate your proficiency. And I think there's if you apply for a company, there's no reason for the company to reject you. Okay, so always work reverse. Don't learn everything. Learn many things and then apply for the company. Instead, you should identify, target very chun. Target like this company needs these skills. Then only you learn these skills and then you apply for this. Be extremely good at those things and then apply for it. Okay. So lastly, I will end with some closing remarks. Okay. One of my favorite quotes is the road less traveled by. So from my journey, as you can see that I didn't take the road that was done by most people when they graduate. Okay. So what happened here is that, let me have a look. Okay, good. So as you can see, I always take the road less traveled by, because sometimes, although everyone after graduate straight jump to work, or everyone wants to go do certain things, everyone tend to flock to somewhere. Always try to be, I would say, try to be different, but don't be different for the sake of different. Be different for a purpose. Okay, some people just likes to be different without purpose, and that's what people call attention seeking lah. But sometimes you have to make hard decisions in life and think of, although some path is not many people take, but if there's a reward at the end, it's worth to take it lah. Okay, so the meaning of this is to take on, to be a person who acts independently, that can think for yourself and not just conform to other people's way of thinking. Okay, so perhaps by doing that, you will actually leave a new path that will ultimately slowly become the road more often traveled by. Okay, so I'd like to end this talk with an analogy. Okay, so most of you are tech students and we like games. So probably this character, Cloud from Final Fantasy. So in most of my other talks, I end with this analogy, which is life is like a game. Okay, specifically it's like an RPG. You get to wander around an open world and then complete quests. Okay, so occupations are like classes. So in games, you have mage, knight, paladin, archer, and so on. In real life, you have doctor, pilots, lawyers, developers. Okay, and the jobs that you choose to take to work as are like quests. In the game, you might be hunting goblins, slaying dragons, clearing a dungeon. In real life, you'll be performing a surgery if you're a doctor, flying a plane if you're a pilot, defending someone in court, or writing computer software programs if you're a developer. Okay, so each of these are like the choices you make in a game. However, just like a game, in a game, you might have a finite time to play this game, such as 300 hours and so on. In life, you might have only 30 years to work, or 30 years of career or lifespan. Okay, so you must think, how is the fastest way you can level up the fastest? Just like in a game, you want to level up fast, you want to be stronger, you want to be up there, right? So you must always think, how what choices can I make to level up faster? So to do that, to become this awesome level 100 knight, fully armored knight, is by choosing to do the right quest. Just like in a game, certain quests gives you more money and experience to level up. Okay, just like in life, the jobs gives you money and gives you experience to level up. Some quests takes shorter time to complete but high rewards, while some quests takes a long time to complete but leads lesser rewards. So same as a job, some companies or some jobs, some choices leads to higher rewards, higher salary or income, while some are requiring lesser effort, while some takes a long time to complete, takes a lot of effort but pays less than that. Okay. So the quest you take also depends on the skills that you have. Okay. So do take my advice to students out there is to take the time out each day during your free time, right, to learn a new skill. Can be technical or non-technical skills. Polish your existing skills so that you can finish quests faster. You get the skills that you have, the resources you have to finish quests faster, and to level up to take on harder quests. And then you can reach your desired level faster. And the level here, I mean, in game is the level of your class lah. But in life, to reach your level of financial stability, financial freedom, or the level of satisfaction in life. Okay. So yeah, that's all for my talk. And right now, I will open the floor for a short 15 minutes Q&A session. Alia, you're on mute.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Daren. That was really inspiring and really informative. So I hope you guys learn a lot from that. There's a lot of tips for us students. So yeah, so now we're gonna open the floor for any questions. You can just type your questions on the chat box in Facebook or YouTube. So are there any questions? Or anything that you guys would like to add?
Whoa, I overshoot by 20 minutes. Oh no. So
okay.
I think, yeah, just keep the Q&A to 10 minutes. I'll just have a timer here. If there's any questions at all.
So are there any questions?
If there's...
We'll just wait a while. I think probably there's
Sure.
You guys can ask anything. And there's someone who comment. Sharon.
Okay, better off my tabs.
Okay, there's a question from Brian Tan. How hard is it to obtain a working visa when applying to a job in Singapore?
Geez, I'm not too sure on this. Wait, hold on. I think I'm lagging. Let me rejoin this chat. Give you a moment.
We'll just wait for Mr. Daren to come back. Some technical issues.
All right, I'm back. Okay. Let's see. How hard is it to get a working visa? Oh, unfortunately, I do not know the answer to this question because I have not worked a full-time job in Singapore yet. However, from my friends, from the experience that I've got, I've learned from my friends by asking them, generally it's not too hard because what you need is the employment pass, and the employment pass is by your company. The only downside to working under employment pass, as I know, there's two things you have. One is employment pass, one is PR. So normally foreigners with employment pass gets paid lower compared to foreigners with the PR pass, because normally they will negotiate down. The company will negotiate down your pay because they need to fork out money for the employment pass.
I hope that answers your question, Mr. Brian. There's another one. Is being a freelancer better than having a normal job?
Freelancer has its pros and cons. So the things I miss about being a freelancer is to work from home, which we've been experiencing that since COVID. So yeah, being a freelancer, basically you just need to work whenever you feel like it, as long as the deadline is completed for that day or for the week lah. You can work anytime, anywhere, in a cafe, overseas, when you are traveling. It's a nomad job, digital nomad. Yeah. However, to give you the proper picture of the reality, is that freelancers sometimes, as I showed just now, you get situations where you don't get your payments on time. Yeah, you get some stress from the financial stability aspect. Okay. Unlike a proper like an office job, you get to have a constant salary. If you're doing those project-based jobs, you'll be worried about whether you get your payments or not, whether you get payments on time, or whether if the project's cancelled or not. Okay. However, the other type of freelance that I've mentioned just now, which is the contract-based, the longer-term one, which is salary-based, that's a safer route to take lah if you're doing freelancing.
Right, thank you. I hope that answers your question. So this is a long one from Mr. Daniel Tan. My friend's not interested to join hackathons with me, and I am too afraid and unconfident to join alone as a uni student. Any advices besides learning extra things in my free time?
To join hackathons, okay, if you really have no friends around you that's interested, right, you should join alone. Because, okay, in hackathons, right, it's not just you who are alone. There's actually could be other people from other universities or other backgrounds who are also joining alone. And then you get to meet new people, you get to connect with them. If you're just joining just for fun, like to learn stuff, it's okay to join with strangers. You get to, you get to improve like your networking skills, as well as to to learn to work with strangers. Okay, but however, if you are like me, sort of joining hackathon competitively, you want to choose your teammate before you go lah. Yeah.
That's a great advice. So I hope that answers your question. And there's another one by Mr. Chi again. What is the difference between advanced computer science major and data science major?
Okay. I've never heard of advanced computer science major before. However, if you're talking about computer science major and data science major, I believe in MMU and they have this. They have bachelor's in computer science. Then there's a bracket software engineering, major in software engineering, major in data science, major in AI. Okay, so actually, if you're talking about what's the difference between the studies, is actually different. In software engineering, you definitely learn the syllabus on the final year and the third year would be specialized more to software engineering syllabus, such as software testing, web development, more practical back-end development, and some other. That's the one I have lah, which is software engineering. I cannot remember what other subjects I have there. If you're taking AI machine or major computer science bracket, data science or AI major, definitely the final year will have specializations with different subjects, such as AI or more statistics subjects or machine learning data science subjects.
Right, thank you. There's another one by Mr. Muhammad Hafizuddin. How do we get client if we want to do freelance? Do we need to PM and lead the person or company if there is any available job?
Okay. Let me share with you a secret. So, from my observation, right, out of all of these channels that I've shared just now in the talk, I saw the most highest engagements were Facebook groups. So, if you as a programmer, you post you said, hey, I'm a freelancer with this years of experience, or I've done this project before. You showcase your portfolio or even your FYP if you have. Just post it out there saying you're offering freelancing services. Right there, right now, there's two areas. One is the companies which are hiring. There's a huge talent gap in companies and tech talents. Companies are trying to hire, but they couldn't find the talents to join. And next, also are those businesses who are looking for software agencies or freelancers. They just can't find. There's a huge gap there as well. So if you post your services in both the tech groups such as Developer Kaki and all those groups I mentioned just earlier, as well as those startup business entrepreneur groups, I'm very sure there will be people who message you to inquire more about your service.
Right, thank you. There's two more questions. One is, can you advise on what technologies that are great to learn in 2020?
Honestly speaking, I'll give you a very not mainstream answer. All technologies are great to learn. The proper career answer would be technologies depend. So as I mentioned, it can be you have to reverse engineer from there. So ultimately, what are you learning technology for? To make money, right? So to make money, there's two ways: either freelancing or the career side. So ultimately, is I think you should go and find out which companies pay the salary ranges that you want. It's quite surprising to see that for certain years of experience or certain skill set, different companies A, B, C, D, E will pay significantly different ranges. So find out what companies are those, find out what technologies they need. Only you learn those technologies. Usually those are listed in their job descriptions, in their website and everything else. Okay. So I think the answer you want is actually technologies to be future-proof. Technologies that will make you future-proof would be, I would say Node.js. Node.js developer is in demand. Python, definitely Python. Python, you can do so many things. You can be a data scientist. You can do machine learning, AI. You can also build web apps and even desktop apps with Python. So yeah, you can just feel free to learn anything. But of course, the core thing is actually to learn about the basic programming concept so that you can learn up each language when you need to and fast.
Thank you for the advice. So now, this is the last question. What's the most
Okay.
important criteria to consider when joining a new company or a new job?
Okay, fantastic question. So I always, before this, I just keep talking about the monetary aspects, right? So monetary aspects is one. Other than that, other than the monetary aspects, of course, is I think there's 3 to 4 other things. So one is career progression. In this company, will you have a room to grow in this company, either upwards or horizontally? So what I mean by this, let me share with you something called a career framework. Let me share my screen shortly. Let's see here, buffer. Okay, so this is share screen.
Still not there yet. Okay.
Okay, here you go. So there's something called companies in Malaysia do not have this, but there are companies out there in the West. There's something called a career framework. So career frameworks are the structure or what the HR have done to basically make it transparent. How can you progress in this company, either horizontally in different roles? You can progress from department to department or in different roles, either as a maker, manager, and so on. Or you can also progress vertically, as in within being a team lead or team manager, you can be level 1, level 2, level 3, and with each level, there'll be increase or different job scope and complexity. Okay, most companies, I think they do not have this such transparent and such detailed career framework. As you can see here, this is a link that I found from Google. This company is called Buffer, by the way. Do check out their website and their career posting. They hire remote teams only. So they have this engineering career framework. So let's take a look here. It's my first time seeing this as well. So you can see if you're progressing as a fresh grad engineer 1, you can progress horizontally in different aspects such as scope of influence, building, execution, and leadership. And after completing horizontal growth, you can also do vertical growth to become engineer 2, 3, senior staff, principal engineer, and lastly, engineer of distinction. Okay, so career growth is one. So what else is there? Let me go back to the stream. Stop. Next. Other than career progression, of course, it's a culture. How's the company? How the company treat the staff? Are the staff happy working in this company or not? So how you can find this out is to go to glassdoor.com. I'm not sure JobStreet got or not, but glassdoor.com definitely. For each company that I join, or want to join, or feel like joining, I will definitely go to glassdoor.com to find out what the staff's anonymous reviews, either those who are in the company or already left the company, what reviews they left for their company. Okay, so sometimes you can find some very, very truthful and straight to the point reviews of the company, and you can find out how the employees' happiness are there. Okay, whether they're satisfied with the job or other suffering, do they have micromanaging, and all those things. And lastly is the benefit. So other than the salary and payment and financial payment, financial aspects, there's also the benefits, whereby such as I don't know, those medical, gym, EPF, SOXO. I think those are standard, but there are some perks such as flexi claim. I know one company with 4,000 ringgit yearly flexi claim, which is not heard of in other company. You can claim it for flight tickets, hotel stays, gym, books, courses, and so on. Anything you like for a year, and every year it renews. Some company gives you gym membership. Some company give you remote companies, especially they give you a fund when you join them. They give you funds to buy new laptop. They give you funds to set up your home office, buy new chair, can buy new table, new mouse and keyboard to make your setup more ergonomic.
Right, thank you. There's actually one more question, which is,
okay,
what is your view on no-code platform?
Okay. So this is a good question, because pretty recently I actually got to try out a platform called Squarespace. I'm sure everybody heard of it before. Their marketing is very strong. The marketing. Squarespace basically is a drag and drop website builder, and it's super powerful. So let's say there's two types of no-code platform. One is for web, one is for app. So let me just focus on the web first, because the web no-code platforms are around a lot longer. So from my experience using the Squarespace, right, I'm very surprised, because not only it can do the front end, it can also do the common features. Let's say you sell an e-commerce store, right? You can do product listing, you can do events listing, you can do event listing where you can buy tickets from the calendar as well, without coding at all. You can list your products, list your tickets, you can do pre-orders, you can do most of the common things people need you to build is already in Squarespace. You just need to customize the look and feel. Other than that, there's also the back end. The payment gateway is just one click connecting to connect to a payment gateway. Just one click to link to your payment gateway account. What else? There's also sales management. There's also all the analytics behind. It's very powerful, the analytics behind. So what they have in the analytics, right, is like how many people click into the page and looked away, how many people add to cart but didn't check out. All this is already ready made in Squarespace, you know. So from the back end, as a company, you can actually view all this data. And other than that, the SEO is also very easy to set up, very easy to configure. And a lot of things they don't need developers to code anymore. And let's say there's some features, like let's say a countdown timer to when the pre-order will end. So this feature is not available as a drag and drop component, but you can actually add a custom code block in the page, and then you can just code a JavaScript to display the countdown clock yourself. So actually, you can also add in custom components within these no-code platforms. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that answers all of you guys' questions. So that's all the questions for today. So thank you so much for all the great tips for all of us. So I hope everyone can benefit from that. And so do follow the Daren's Facebook group, which is Developer Kaki and Hackathon Kaki. It's have great stuff. I'm in it as well, so you can gain a lot of knowledge. You can network with different types of people, different kind of people. So yeah, join the group. And there's also a meetup, right, for Developer Kaki.
Yeah.
I'll give you the link, which is a launch party. It will be on August 15th. So for anyone who would want to network with people and meet up and learn new stuff, you can just join the event. It will be in KL on the 14th of August. Sorry.
Let me share a bit more on this event. So it's held on the 14th of August after 7 p.m. onwards. For this talk, it will be our first ever Developer Kaki meetup after achieving. At first, I was having this meetup to celebrate 2.5K members, but by the time I organized this event, it's already become 3K members. So the team of this event managed to invite two very special speakers, which are two Malaysians, locally graduated Malaysians, not overseas, just like you and me, private and public local universities, who managed to work in overseas Google. Because as we all know, actually some of us don't know, in Google Malaysia, there's an office in Q Central. Google Malaysia office in Q Central. They do not have an engineering team there. The nearest engineering team you can find is in Singapore. So there's these two Malaysians who managed to get into Google, and it's not Malaysia and it's not Singapore, it's an overseas Google. So they've been through the process from university level and up to the many stages of interviews and preparations and process to, so I got them for this event to speak and share about the journey so that it will inspire more of you to apply to FANG companies overseas.
Yeah, so do join the event. It sounds exciting. So if you do join, both of us will be there. So drop in, say hi. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much, Mr. Daren, for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for the invite.
No problem. So and thank you for all also for joining us. So I hope you guys can learn a lot and gain a lot from this session. So yeah, so and join the SC as well if you get the opportunity to join. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, so any words that you want to say to all of them before we?
No, good luck and all the best to your studies and career.
Right. Thank you. Yes, everyone say thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, bye
Have a good
guys.
night.